It was a daunting challenge from milking cows for 25 years and suddenly finding yourself in some of the top-class restaurants in Dublin.
Poinsettia has kind of taken over in recent years because it's so spectacularly Christmassy.
See, if you're living on your own, this is great for you.
It's better than the Gresham. It's better than the Gresham.
Hello and welcome to Ear to the Ground. We've got a very festive programme for you this evening.
Helen will be tasting some of Jamie Oliver's latest desserts.
Darragh will be finding out what to buy the girl who has everything.
But first, I went to Dublin to hear about a new initiative linking farmers with those in need. It's 7 o'clock in the morning and I've come here to North Dublin, to the Crosscare organisation, who have since 1941 been feeding people who cannot afford to eat. They've set up a really interesting new initiative. It's called From Farm to Fork, and it's linking them directly with farmers who have produce that they kindly donate. So we're off to Meade to meet a farmer who's going to harvest some vegetables, and by this afternoon those vegetables are going to be served as healthy, nutritious meals in the Crosscare Community Cafe.
On a frosty, chilly morning, I travelled with Crosscare's Michael McDonough and Derek Balmain to the Meade farm in Lobanstown, County Meath, one of 5 farms involved in the Farm to Fork project. There are 450,000 people in Ireland in food poverty today. Unsurprisingly, charities like Crosscare are under huge pressure to meet this demand.
Over the last 2 years, our information and advice services have been flooded with people. They're doubling the number of people coming to the door. People struggling with their rent, people struggling with landlords, difficulties in trying to just make ends meet on a day-to-day basis. Now increasingly, people are coming looking for food alone, and they can come and get a bag of groceries or a bag of food that will support them and their families, and that's a reality for a lot of people now. They're living so close to that line that getting food for the family is difficult.
Just an hour north of Dublin is the Meade's fruit and vegetable farm. The family has donated fresh produce to Crosscare since 2008, and it was this that gave Michael the idea to set up Farm to Fork. Today, the Meads donate 1.5 tonnes of nutritious produce every week. Simply because of their shape, these fruit and veg don't meet the supermarket standards.
Morning, Philip.
Morning, Ella.
How are you?
How are you doing?
Oh, nice cold hands there.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting a head start on me. We're going to take some spuds out of the ground. There are still spuds in the ground,
That's
which
right.
is pretty amazing for this time of the year.
Yes, normally the crops would be lifted by the end of November, but just difficult growing season we're after having, there's about 10–15% still to be lifted.
So tell me, what kind of vegetables do you give to Crosscare?
Well, just to give you an example here, this is a perfect example here of class 2 potato. Basically, you can see there's mechanical damage there, where, if you just snip that and cut that off, it's perfectly edible, perfectly healthy, that potato. You have misshapen produce, it's all perfectly edible, it's just the appearance of it.
And how much would you recommend this to other farmers around Ireland who may want to get involved in giving a bit of their produce to charities?
I would really recommend it because it's a feel-good factor, it's giving something back to society, and if everybody pulls together, it just shows what can be done and giving back something to people in need.
So I think we need to get digging, because I know that there's a meal happening this afternoon. We need to get these spuds down to Dublin.
Okay.
The frozen wet field was no place for a tractor, so we had to gather the potatoes the old-fashioned way, with a spade. Spuds lifted straight out of the ground, we packed the van with fresh produce, all donated by the Meade family. In the centre of Dublin, on Portland Row, is Ireland's only food bank, run by Crosscare. The relationship they're building with Irish farmers is central to their ability to feed healthy, fresh, seasonal food to those who need it.
It's obviously a very new project, but how have you developed the relationships with the farmers?
Well, originally the farmers came to us. Yeah, so they came to us and they said, look, we've got this perfectly good produce. It's a shame to send it to landfill. Could you do something with it? If it wasn't for the farmers that we're dealing with, there would be no way we could provide stuff like this to the people who need it most.
Last year, Crosscare cooked and served over 60,000 hot meals to people who visited their 3 community cafes across Dublin.
One of our cafes now is open in the mornings because we've identified that people, before they go to work or before they bring their kids to school, are having problems giving them breakfast. So it's about having the centres open early so as they can come in before they go to work and have their breakfast. It's why the onus is on charities now to try and move away from that model of soup kitchen where there's a massive stigma going in and bring it to a more kind of community cafe where people can come in and they see high standards, they see, you know, that they're given respect.
Afternoon, Paula.
Hiya, Bella.
How are you, chef?
Brilliant.
I come bearing gifts.
That's great.
How good is it for you to get this kind of fresh produce?
It's great for us. It's great to think that this was in the ground this morning and now today we're going to have that on a plate at dinner time. And you can't get any fresher than that, really and truly. It could be sitting on a supermarket shelf for 2 days and the nutrition is diminishing as it's sitting there, so this is brilliant.
What are you going to cook this afternoon?
Today we're having leek and potato soup and we're going to have roast turkey, mashed potatoes and fresh mixed veg, straight from the ground.
I've got very good knife skills.
Brilliant, because we've a busy day ahead. Come on, get chopping.
From older people living alone to younger people who are currently homeless, the meals served in the cafe are often the only proper nourishment they'll get during the day.
Great food, great food.
Whatever's put out,
whatever's put out, we eat. It's always nice. It's always better. Just never complained about food.
We haven't had a bad dinner, have we, Jimmy?
No, not once.
Well, the cabbage and the bacon, I think it's be gorgeous.
The cabbage and the
white
bacon.
sauce. Oh.
Can't go wrong with that.
It brings me home again.
For those who can't afford it, these hot meals are free. For those who can, they contribute a small amount to help cover the costs.
And is this your table, Kathleen?
This is our table, yes. Yes, this is our table. This is where we come and we sit here and have a chat and have a beautiful meal.
Monday to Friday,
Monday
is it,
to
Monica?
Friday.
Yes, yeah. What's the food like, Anne?
Beautiful. And we enjoy the vegetables, lovely fresh vegetables. You're getting a soup, your main course, and then there's dessert. And so for €3. And the staff is absolutely fantastic. If you're living on your own, this is great for you.
It's better than the Gresham.
It's better than the Gresham. Tom, are you enjoying the mince pie?
Yeah, I am indeed. I'm here since 1992.
92?
After my flat was burned, and I got a dinner here. And I was coming here ever since. Yeah.
Do you come here every day?
Every day, yeah, every day.
And do you like the fact that the vegetables come from the farmers in the morning?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I love vegetables.
Do you?
I do,
yeah.
For those facing crippling financial pressure, Christmas can be a time of dreadful stress. Getting food on the table is their only priority. The things some of us take for granted during the festive season are forsaken.
So Michael,
Yeah?
I've got a bit of a surprise for you.
Oh no.
I've made a phone call.
Okay.
To the champion Christmas tree grower in the whole of Ireland. He's around the corner here. He's come with quite a few presents.
Wow.
Christy, Michael, it's Christy
How
Kavanagh.
are you doing, Christy? How are you? Wow.
Christy comes bearing these gifts for you.
Christmas trees.
Yeah, these trees, Michael, are from a charity. They're from our beautiful Christmas tree farm in Newton McKennedy in County Wicklow. And we're going to donate them to yourselves for all the good work that you do.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. I already know so many families that will absolutely appreciate these this holiday season. Times are tough everywhere, all around, and it can be hard for families feeding themselves, let alone getting Christmas trees and presents and stuff like that. A lot of kids around here have never had a real Christmas tree, so that will make a big difference to us. Thank you so much. Really.
You're welcome.
The Farm to Fork initiative is at its infancy, but it's already been hugely successful. Michael knows the potential, and he's keen to hear from more Irish farmers.
I'd appeal to any farmers out there to help us with developing this kind of initiative nationwide. You know, I think together we can make a real difference. People often think about donating money at Christmas, but sometimes produce and stuff like this can really go directly into helping families most in need.
The new Farm to Fork initiative, and it's so great to see farmers getting involved in such a worthy cause.
Absolutely. And how did you get on with Jamie Oliver?
Well, you'll find out after the break, Dara, when I visit the farmers who are making Jamie Oliver's latest dessert.
Welcome back to Ear to the Ground. Well, later in the programme, Dara travels to Wexford to find out more about some festive potted plants. But first, Helen gets a taste of Christmas in Kilkenny.
It's early morning and Kilkenny farmer Liam Brennan has a delivery to make to Jamie Oliver's new restaurant in Dundrum Town Centre.
Well, it was a daunting challenge from milking cows for 25 years and suddenly finding yourself in some of the top-class restaurants in Dublin. Trying to sell your ice cream was a challenge, but I certainly look forward to it, and it was a new lease of life for me.
Candy, you candy man.
Jamie's food ethos and Jamie's Italian is about sourcing the best ingredients we can find and using them on a seasonal basis and using them to produce this great food that we have in the restaurant here. We have to use free-range eggs in all our ice creams, so we were delighted that Gatabon could use free-range products, and would be Jamie's ethos to use all free-range products in our food, on our menu.
It might not look or sound very Italian around here, but the village of Gatabon in North Kilkenny has given its name to a real dairy ice cream that's playing a starring role in some of our best restaurants.
5 years ago, Liam Brennan set up a business to add value to the milk from his 75-cow dairy herd. Along with his brother Anthony, he started making ice cream with some of the milk and cream from the farm.
At the time I was getting actually a bit fed up with the conditions that were in farming at the time, and we were working all hours and didn't seem to be making a huge amount from it. So I had thought about ice cream possibly 10 years previous, but I was put off the idea because the powers that be said there was no market for it. And then Anthony had just changed his job and he was looking around for something new, and he asked me would I be interested. And I said, yeah, why not? Give it a go. It would be certainly something new, and it would certainly be a challenge for myself. It started off with the cows. We knew exactly where the milk was coming from, the quality of the milk and everything else, and it was a natural progression then to try and add value and just move across the other side of the yard and add the value. It works extremely well because about 6% of our milk goes into the ice cream and the balance would go to Glanbia. Now we milk 365 days of the year, whereas before I would stop milking for probably 2 months in the winter. So there is a considerable amount of work, but we enjoy it. We wouldn't do it otherwise.
Just across the yard from the dairy is the purpose-built ice cream production unit. Here, Liam's brother Anthony combines his food industry experience with Italian machinery to add value to the farm's milk and cream.
So this is the machine where all the magic happens?
This is it, Helen, yeah. This is where we make all the glorious ice cream.
So ingredients in the top?
Raw batch in the top, pasteurised to 84 degrees, and then we drop it down to the bottom section where it's frozen.
Let's have a look at what's coming out.
Okay.
What flavour is this,
Anthony?
Anthony?
A batch of rum and raisin.
Oh, lovely.
Let out the mix, and I add in the raisins just by hand like that.
It's very creamy looking. Is there much cream in your ice cream?
There is a lot of cream. It's about between 15 and 20% cream, and it's a high-fat cream. We use double cream, 40%, which we separate ourselves from our own milk. So it is a high-fat product.
I tell you what, it's taken great restraint not to stick my finger into that to take a taste, Anthony. It smells delicious. So one lot of ice cream, how many litres do you get from it?
We get 10 litres from every batch, and I produce about 15 batches every day. So we're producing about 150 litres.
And you have a special Christmas ice cream, don't you?
Absolutely. We have Christmas pudding ice cream. It's based on a traditional fruit plum pudding that your grandmother might have made.
And there's a lot of demand for that.
There is, yeah. This time of year is very popular.
Making the ice cream is probably the easy part. It must be very difficult actually selling it.
We did a lot of market research at the beginning, and I suppose we differentiated the quality restaurants from, we'll say, your fast food restaurants and that, and they're the ones we targeted. We're supplying a really luxury product, and we go into the chefs with the product that we've got, the high quality, and effectively once they taste it, you have them hooked.
So pardon the pun, but you were cold calling with your ice cream?
Absolutely we were. We just made our samples and just went straight in directly to the chefs with the free samples, and they'll never refuse a spoon of ice cream.
What are the more unusual flavours that you've done?
The most unusual was probably fried bacon and maple syrup.
It doesn't sound particularly appetising.
It's very nice. It was very nice. But we've done a lot of the savoury flavours using basil or thyme. We can do a curry flavour. We're actually working with a chef at the moment designing a rose petal ice cream. So that's very interesting.
Starting a new business needs money, and the Brennans got support from the Kilkenny County Enterprise Board. But are there many people willing to risk starting a business nowadays?
We're probably twice as busy as we were back in 2007, 2008. The inquiries have practically doubled since then.
And why do you think that is?
Well, I suppose in times of recession, Helen, people are looking at alternatives, and they are now considering self-employment rather than employment because the opportunities aren't there. And they are identifying niches within the marketplace and looking at those, and we will sit down with them and help them to develop those ideas further. Kilkenny is a very rural-based county, so the majority of the people coming in to us would actually be based rurally, and a lot of them would be based on farms as well.
So has Liam any advice for would-be entrepreneurs?
If you have something, an idea in the back of your head and it's nagging at you, try it. There's no harm in trying, and there's no harm in failing either, even if you don't succeed. But definitely try it, it's well worth it.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
Well, I couldn't come all this way without sampling some of the ice cream. It is one of the perks of the job. We'll give it a go.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
I think that's possibly one of the creamiest ice creams I've ever had.
And I got me some corn for popping.
And the good news is I've brought some Gathabone ice cream for both of you.
Christmas pudding ice cream from Kilkenny. What a treat.
Well, while Ella gets stuck into her ice cream, I was down in Wexford hunting some festive flowers.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop.
Since pagan times, it's been traditional to bring plants into our homes at this time of the year. They put a bit of life and colour back into these dark winter nights. But these days, the choice of plants for Christmas is greater than ever. Poinsettias have become popular in recent years, and some Irish growers have risen to the challenge of delivering these tropical plants in time for Christmas. Jim O'Connor has 5 acres of glasshouses near Gorey in County Wexford. Jim, an amazing site here. How many poinsettias are we actually looking at here?
There's probably about 8,000 left here, Dara. We grow in total about 30,000 plants.
30? So this is only about a quarter of what you produce on an annual basis?
Yeah. That's all we've left, and we hope to within the next few days have rid of the last of these.
Are they a hard plant to grow?
Yeah, they're quite hard. Obviously, they're not a native of Ireland. They're originally from Mexico, or native of Mexico. So what we're trying to do is to mimic the conditions that they would get out there, here. We're trying to grow them at 18 degrees so they get ideal temperatures.
And I suppose that's why these plants need to be grown in such high-tech glass houses like this one here.
Dara, we can control everything in here in the glass house. Like, it's all fully automated from the lighting conditions to the heating, to the feeding, to the humidity. It can all be controlled 100% in here. So we're getting the best product possible at the end of when it's being shipped out. These are all for Irish supermarkets and independent garden centres throughout the country. So we're quite proud of the fact that we've substituted a Dutch imported product now. It's grown here in Ireland, and I suppose it's good for us, but it's also good for any customer because this plant hasn't spent 3 days in a lorry being dragged over from Holland in the cold and wet and damp. They're grown here in good conditions. We'll ship them out, and within minimum 1 day they can be on the shelves in a supermarket or garden centre.
Jim employs 9 people full-time, and the main business is summer bedding plants and pot plants. In recent years, Jim has built 3 acres of modern glasshouses to replace the older houses.
The business is very seasonal, so we have a really busy time from the end of February right through till the end of July, and then it tapers off, and for the winter then it's fairly quiet other than the poinsettias. These are really great glasshouses for growing still bedding plants and the likes of the primroses here. They're still absolutely perfect for getting a nice hardy plant, but maybe for doing early geraniums and some of the other more specialised plants, you know, to do it in more modern glass, it's easier and better for the plants. Like, you know, a lot of the plants don't actually get touched by hand anymore. They're potted on a potting machine and they're ran through the robots for spacing and grown on the benches. The whole job is done a lot more uniform now than we were able to do before, and a lot more cost efficient, which is also very important. We're probably getting less for a plant now than we were 20 years ago, so we have to be, you know, more efficient.
Baby, it's cold outside.
It's garden centres like this one that provide the link between nurseries and the customer, and Christmas provides a welcome boost to this sector that's been forced to reinvent itself to survive.
Baby, it's cold outside.
A garden centre wouldn't survive anymore if it was plants only. And if you stay just offering a plant, I think we'll say cheerio. But that's where you have to reinvent yourself. Think of new things. People are out there, they want something to do, they want somewhere to go. They still have time to spend, if nothing else. So one of my objectives would be to provide a place where people would like to come. And then it's up to us to try and see if we can offer them something to buy. The shop means that we can have customers now who are looking for gifts or somewhere to sit and keep warm, and the addition of the cafe, that has helped immensely.
So if you do get a lovely poinsettia just like this for Christmas, how do you look after it? Jerry Daly, what's your advice?
Well, the number one thing is pick a lovely plant like this, a really well-grown plant, and only buy one that's indoors. Because if poinsettia is put outside, it takes a chill, and as soon as it comes into the heat, all the leaves fall off. And that's a very, very common problem. The next most important thing after that then is watering. And that's very simple. Just put your finger on the top of the pot, and if it feels cool and moist, that's perfect. Just like that. A little bit of compost comes off in your finger.
Okay.
If it feels dry, wait, give it water straight away, and if it feels wet, wait for a week or so and then water it.
Okay.
Nice warm room, good light, and it should be fine.
And is it just poinsettias for Christmas, or is there other ideas?
Well, poinsettia has kind of taken over in recent years because it's so spectacularly Christmassy, but there are lots of others as well.
So we've got a few different things here.
Yeah, there's Christmas cactus, which is a traditional favourite.
I think I remember my gran having one of these in her bathroom. Was that possible?
Yeah, that's a long time favourite. And in fact, you know, you can grow it even from just one of these leaves, stick it in the ground, it'll root.
Okay.
So it was passed around a lot.
Yeah.
Beautiful flowers on it. That's a sort of a very pale pink one, but there's all sorts of other colours, magenta and pink and red. And very, very easy to grow, even if it dries out. It is a succulent, which means that it has fat leaves that hold water. So if you forget to water it, it'll survive for even maybe a month or 2 months without being watered.
That sounds like one I could handle. Yeah. Orchids are becoming very popular, I see.
Yeah, orchids are year-round now, and you know, this is the moth orchid, which is very, very beautiful orchid and flowers for practically the whole year.
Yeah.
So it is being used for Christmas, although it's not traditional. This is traditional, this Indian azalea, or indoor azalea, which has always been grown for Christmas, forced in greenhouse with a bit of extra heat to bring it into flower for Christmas. The cyclamen, of course, is another really good Christmas flower. Traditional as well, originally from Persia. It has a tuber. It's very easy to overwater it. The hyacinth is another traditional favourite. It flowers normally in March outdoors, but with treated bulbs that are given extra warmth in the summertime, it can be brought into flower for Christmas. And lovely scent, of course.
Great, I'm just noticing here, $1.99. These things are as cheap as chips.
Yeah, well, you know, that's a nice little plant. It's a nice gift, or it's a nice add-on to a gift.
Now, never let it be said, I'll let you go home empty-handed for Christmas.
Thank you, Dara.
Two of Wexford's finest poinsettias.
They're beautiful. Thank you, Dara. Well, happy Christmas to all of you, and thanks for watching.
We are back on the first Thursday of 2013. Until then, have a gorgeous Christmas and a very relaxing New Year.
Christmas